Tonight, the Texas Rangers are back in Arlington. With final roster spots going down to the wire, the Rangers have 2 final tune-ups against the Reds from Globe Life Park. Well, we can put Arizona behind us. Great to be back home here at Globe Life Park for the first of 2 against the Cincinnati Reds, as we will put a cap on the spring training season for 2018. Welcome in, folks. Great to be with you. Great to be back home. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nitkowski. Rangers back home. Get a couple more things in place before the regular season begins. Now, that means a little more roster shuffling today. A couple of announcements. The primary one being that Bartolo Colon re-signed another minor league deal.
Well, the Rangers needed depth in their rotation, and Bartolo Colon certainly provides that. He had a very nice spring training, but this is about probably more of an administrative move. Maybe he's changing some terms with the contract a little bit. They wanted him back. He agreed to come back, and now the Rangers have Bartolo Colon.
Okay, and so that means as we look at the rotation for 2018, hey, look, it's not a straight 5-man rotation, but Bartolo Colon might slip right in there.
Yes, we will see. You take a look at what we have here, and it's Cole Hamels, of course. Everybody knew that starting opening day, but the new faces, Doug Fister, Matt Moore, Mike Minor, and quite possibly Bartolo Colon for that April 2nd start. Of course, Martin Perez will be expected to make his debut on April 5th, but right now we'll start the season on the DL. But Doug Fister is the guy I mentioned, one of the many new faces here in that Rangers rotation. This will be his 10th season in the big leagues, a nearly 500 record over the course of his career. Very respectable 3.68 ERA. A guy who throws a lot of fastballs, has very good movement on that fastball, and keeps the ball on the ground. A very welcome veteran presence to the Rangers rotation.
Yeah, he also keeps the ball in play. I mean, he gets it moving out there and keeps his defense engaged. We'll see how that plays out and helps his team as well. Now, Bartolo Colon, not the only move today. His move, though, does send a ripple to the rest of the roster. And for more of the roster makeup, Drew Robinson, Jose Leclerc, Emily Jones will update us when we come back. autographs, maybe get a souvenir tonight. It is a beautiful evening for baseball here in Arlington. We talk about these rosters being finalized in the next couple of days. For more on the maneuvering, we check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, just a couple of spots have yet to be officially announced, but the thinking is, as we enter this second to last exhibition game of the season, is that the Rangers will opt to put Drew Robinson on the roster and on the bench, and then add to that bullpen with Jose Leclerc. I asked John Daniels today if he felt like all those decisions had been made. He said basically yes, unless something happens outside of the organization, unless we bring in someone who is not yet, with us in camp. And so he left that door a little bit open, but it seems like the decisions have been made, even though they haven't yet been made official.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. And that is part of it. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation. And there's a lot of assumption to be made at this point, but they do like to take their time and make that at the very last minute as Pfister gets us started. And the second pitch of the game, Jesse Winker lifts it out to left field, and Ryan Rua for out number 1. Well, the Reds lineup today, not exactly what they will run out there on opening day. They don't have a DH as they are using tonight in that leadoff spot. Eugenio Suarez coming up. Joey Votto, Scooter Gennett, Adam Duvall in the middle of the order. Scott Schebler, Jose Peraza. Devin Mesoraco does the catching today. He'll likely be the backup. And Billy Hamilton, the speedy center fielder, will bat ninth. Pfister, as we mentioned, doesn't dally. When he gets the baseball, he's ready to go, and you can see perfect example right there.
It's our Commissioner Rob Manfred's favorite kind of pitcher, Doug Pfister. Get the ball, get right back on the rubber, and go. And you see what he did a year ago. 15 starts. One of those was a complete game. ERA 4.88 in those 90 and a third innings for Doug Pfister. But interesting what Emily was talking about regarding the roster. And the Rangers and John Daniels certainly want to leave that door open, right? So they don't necessarily announce the final 25 that will be here and opening up the season for the Texas Rangers in case someone does become available. Certainly there are some camps that are dealing with some players that are out of options, and John Daniels said today they're in those conversations, and we'll see if anything happens.
A strikeout of Suarez, and just like that, 2 quick outs for Doug Pfister.
Well, this is what I mentioned in the open where you'll see a lot of. Here's the 2-seam fastball from Doug Pfister. That means that ball is going to tail to his arm side. That's a backdoor 2-seam fastball. Starts it off the plate, and it comes back and catches the outside corner.
Now goes to work on Joey Votto. Votto, if you look at the spring training numbers, and this is why we try to train ourselves and everybody else not to pay attention. Votto hitting 175, no homers and 4 RBIs. You see the numbers last year in the big leagues. Those usually carry a little more weight when it comes time to negotiating deals.
And Joey Votto's season carried a lot of weight to see the monster year that he had, and he is certainly one of those guys that you never worry about spring training production. The track record for Joey Votto, a long one, and it's been a very good one for him.
1-2 from Pfister. Ooh, froze him, got him looking. 2 strikeouts for the big right-hander Doug Pfister, and we are underway tonight. The Rangers coming to bat. Well, Delano DeShields getting set to start things off for the Rangers here in the bottom of the first inning. Beautiful Monday evening here at Globe Life Park. It'll be DeShields, Joey Gallo, and Elvis Andrus up at the top of the order. And this is exactly what we may see opening day. Beltre, Mazara, Chu, and then Rougned Odor, Ryan Rua, and then Juan Centeno today. And there's your one difference. Centeno, the backup catcher in all likelihood as things currently stand, whereas you would see Chirinos opening day in the catcher spot. And that might affect how you line up things in the bottom third of the order. But DeShields, we do know, will be leading things off.
Without a doubt, and that shot that we just showed you will be one that you might be able to get used to over the course of the season, which is Joey Gallo on deck. The first time that the Rangers come to bat, and him batting second this year. Certainly opens up some interesting possibilities for this Rangers offense when you have that kind of power threat. Hitting second in your lineup, we've talked about a lot. We'll continue to talk about that trend in the game of good hitters, very good hitters. Maybe not prototypical number 2 hitters now hitting in the 2 spot. That'll be fun to watch this season.
And Jeff Bannister made it clear about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago at this point, that he plans on going with Delano leading it off, Gallo batting second. Likes the way that stacks up for right now. He did say, though, and of course every manager, that you have to leave yourself room to change things up a little bit. But he said, you know what, I want to see how they try to defend him. Do teams alter the way that they shift on Joey Gallo? Do they give him more fastballs? If not, does it allow Delano to run a little bit more aggressively? Rolls one out to Scooter Gennett at second base and beat it out at first base. Why he is such a dangerous leadoff man, an infield hit for Delano DeShields.
Well, tremendous hustle by Delano, and you saw the frustration there on Scooter Gennett's face because he knows Delano DeShields can run, but he took too much time. And we'll watch this one here, and you'll see Delano just barely beat that throw and into the glove of Joey Gallo. But watch Scooter Gennett, that little look down, that extra half a step before he threw it, ended up costing the Reds. Great hustle, even though it's only spring training. Delano DeShields always going hard down the line.
He's aboard for Joey Gallo.
Let's take a look here. This is going to be in real time, and watching Delano not hesitating out of the box. Now, what's so interesting about him running, he got down the line incredibly fast like he always does, but it is effortless. Like watching him, he's almost got his jogging face on as he's flying down the first baseline.
Well, as always the case when he is on, teams wisely pay close attention to him at first base.
Well, this is a good look as far as what opposing teams may do. Joey Gallo got a first pitch off-speed pitch with Delano on first. There's another. Well, that's a fastball. Take that back.
So look at the shift now that the Reds employ against Joey Gallo. That is not anywhere near as pronounced as what we have become accustomed to seeing with him.
Well, the big difference is bringing your second baseman in from the outfield, right? He is no longer 15, 20 feet into the grass because you want to give yourself an opportunity to turn that double play. And so what I think Jeff Bannister expects to happen this season is that will buy a few more base hits.
Well, this one's sent high in the air the other way, and it will not get out. Duvall able to get there to haul it in. DeShields hustling to second, and he gets in there. Great tag in advance by the speedy Delano DeShields. One away.
Joey Gallo put a charge into this baseball and gave it a run. It's pretty windy here this evening at Globe Life, and you see this fastball elevated probably a little bit more than they wanted, and that gave Joey a chance to get it up in the air, but it did only reach the track. And then watch Delano DeShields understanding how deep that ball was and how close this was. I mean, every single step matters. Delano DeShields just proved that on both of his plays. First a ground ball, and then they're tagging up.
So in scoring position for Elvis Andrus, one away, bottom of the first. And again, they will try and keep Delano a little closer to the bag.
I mean, what would you say, a combined second? If you took both of those plays at first and then the one at second, second and a half maybe combined, that he was safe, if that?
Yeah, I would say less, yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Well, they play Andrus pretty much straight up on the infield, and he hits this one straight up deep to center field. Looking up Hamilton, and he'll take this one off the fence. DeShields scores easily. RBI double for Elvis Andrus. And the Rangers strike first tonight.
Elvis Andrus picking up right where he left off from a year ago. The great offensive season that he had. And you're going to see this fastball from Malley just kind of up, down the middle. And Elvis all over it. Off the bat, it looked like it had a chance to get out. Quite carry as much as you see it hit at the very top of the wall. And an easy RBI with Delano DeShields on second base.
So real nice start to this one for this Rangers offense. And now here is Adrian Beltre. And he takes a strike from the young right-hander, Tyler Malley. Beltre last year, 94 games you saw there. Malley, just 23 years old, made the big leagues last year. And Beltre sends this one out to right field, and it hangs up just long enough for Schebler to get there, and there are two gone.
Take a look at the numbers here for Tyler Malley a year ago. 4 starts at the big league level. Very nice ERA in his 20 innings. The walks were an issue. One of those was an intentional walk, so 10 walks for him on his own in those 20 innings. Certainly a number that he will want to work on. At the minor league level, a very impressive season between AA and AAA. Made 24 starts, had a 2.06 ERA, and his walk rate significantly better. 1.9 for him at the minor league level. That's a tremendous number. And so I think probably what the Reds saw last year in him was maybe a guy that was a little bit nervous as a rookie and not quite going at hitters as much as he had been in the minor leagues. But over the course of his minor league career, very impressive walk numbers. He's earned himself the 3 spot. He'll start the 3rd game of the year for the Reds in their rotation.
It works to the dangerous Nomar Mazara here. He's fallen behind 2-0.
Interesting, too, to see the Rangers, and we know, of course, there's a lot of power in this lineup, but to give a couple of balls a run at home runs. Joey Gallo with the deep fly out, and Elvis Andrus with a double off the wall in those 20 innings. Now they did not allow any home runs. His first time around the big leagues.
2-0. Gets Mazara swinging there, 2-1. And that's saying something, too. And I don't know where he pitched all of his games last year. He pitched 4 games in the big leagues, but that home ballpark is not a forgiving one for pitchers.
No, it certainly is not.
Mazara with 2 home runs this spring is average at .321. And Malley runs it in tight.
Well, Dave, you have questions and I have answers. One start was at home.
Okay.
And the other 3 were at Pittsburgh, at the Mets, and at St. Louis. So only 1 home start last year, August 27th, when he got called up.
Those other 3 parks strike me as fair to maybe even slightly pitcher friendly.
I would agree with that.
3-1 pitch. And Mazara hammers this one deep center field, and that is not coming back. Oh my! A towering home run to center field for Nomar Mazara. Rangers lead it 3-0.
A lot of talk about the year Nomar Mazara here potentially could have. He had a tremendous year last season and a lot expected of him in 2018. And another pitch that is up. And we'll talk about the great balance so often and how still his head remains throughout his swing for Nomar Mazara, who hammered that ball. And I tell you what, it almost looks like the wind is knocking those balls down a little bit as you saw it almost start to come back. So even though it's windy here this evening, I think possibly the wind not helping those fly balls, which just gives you an idea how much he really mashed that thing.
And he hits this one sharply up the middle. That's a base hit. 4th hit of the inning for the Rangers. And it continues. Chu, very good spring. Came in at 273. And now he is aboard.
A couple of guys there know how to draw walks and get on base with Chu and Joey Votto over at first.
Well, here's a guy who's going to have the spotlight on him, especially in the first several weeks of the season. Odor, 193 average during Cactus League play. Couple of home runs, 6 RBIs. He started spring training by really taking a lot of pitches, being selective, drawing walks. And it's an approach that he's hoping he can carry over into the regular season without losing any of that power and run production as he lashes that one foul.
And a lot of what we will be focusing on is the pitch awareness, strike zone awareness. I think it's a good example of that first pitch that Rougned Odor saw. He ended up taking it. It was called a strike. It was a pitch that was up and away, and a pitch that he doesn't want, and maybe one that he was chasing in the past. And I think for Odor, it's going to be about recognizing his strengths, trying to be a little bit more patient, like you mentioned, without giving up that aggressiveness. That is not going to be easy to do. That is a difficult thing. Be patient, but be aggressive. That's essentially what Rougned Odor is trying to do this season.
Malley's 0-2. Trying to get him to chase that one upstairs. So Odor very much looking for a bounce-back season here in 2018, which is a funny thing to say given the power numbers that he produced last year. 2-2, and that allowed Chu to head to second. The throw down there in time. They got him on the back. So Chu gunned down. That ends the inning, but the Rangers score 3. And it all started with a great leadoff effort and speed of Delano DeShields. Beats out the infield hit, swipes second base, and scores easily on the double by Elvis Andrus. Tonight, including a massive home run by that young man right there, Nomar Mazara. 3-0 start as we go to the second inning, and Doug Fister, very efficient in the top of the first, and comes right in there with strike one to Scooter Gennett. A couple of strikeouts for Fister in the first inning, and it is 1-1. And we're excited to be joined by the manager, Jeff Bannister, joining us from the dugout here in the second inning. Hey, Banny.
How we doing?
Boy, good. You got to like the way that offense looked there in the first inning.
Well, we did. It was fun to watch. Even with the attempt there by Chu on the dirt ball read, I thought it was a good time to go. Rugi was down to 2 strikes, but you know, some loud noises off the bat come in the first inning, kind of what we envisioned with the top of that lineup.
And I think it was really smart of you to agree to come talk to us whenever Doug Fister is pitching, because you know it's probably going to go pretty quick. And he showed that off in the first inning. If you could explain a little bit, first of all, we love watching it, but why it's so important to have a starting pitcher that works as quick as he does and efficiently as he can.
Well, not only the efficiency, but just the capability of throwing strikes. He pounds the strike zone. Listen, when you have a like an inning like we just had offensively, you want to get your offense back to the dugout as fast as you can. You want to keep the pressure on the opposing pitcher, and that's what Doug can do for you. He goes out there, pounds the strike zone, throws that sinker, get a ground ball, and gets his team back into the dugout. And then your legs don't get tired, they don't get heavy. You feel good in the batter's box, so that's why we got him.
Benny, you were telling me, I think this offseason that you guys went back and looked at the numbers. You spent a great deal of time on the defensive side of the ball last year. What was the number, average per game?
Yeah, it was right around 11.5 minutes more than on defense, more than the opposing team. That's a long time. That means that number of things. Look, we weren't very efficient off the mound. Defensively, and there's the whole domino effect of things. When you're not efficient and not throwing strikes, and you keep your defense out on the field for a long time, like I said, those legs get heavy, the feet sink into the ground, and it's hard for these guys to stay ready and move as fast and as quick as they need to be on defense. And so there's a lot of different things. So when you're working quick and throwing strikes, you keep your defense fresh.
And the other thing, too, is we look at the starting rotation, not only Doug Fister, but you've got some veterans in here and some guys that are trying to be bounce-back projects maybe to some degree. But I think the message that has been sent to Rangers fans is, wasn't, big money guys, but guys with track records, and that means this team is absolutely going to contend. What does it mean for you to have those kind of veteran guys? What kind of message does that send to your clubhouse?
Well, first it sends a message to the clubhouse that we're going to send guys out there that are grown-ups that they're able to pitch. They're going to throw strikes. They're going to stay in the battle. They're not going to get overwhelmed by anything that goes on the field. And so they've been there. They've been part of it. And these guys believe in those type of players, and something that I felt like we really needed. JD did a great job in the front office, our scouts, to go out and identify some guys that we felt that could do that for us. And then not only that, be able to target a guy like Mike Minor who has electric stuff, and envision him as a starter, and bring him in and give him an opportunity to start.
To that end, I was asked today what things jumped out to me from spring training. One of the things I think for sure was just the chemistry in the clubhouse and with this group this year. Today, the announcement, Bartolo Colon, and he has a little relationship with Martin Perez. It's been beneficial this year. Very beneficial, and it's been great to have Bartolo in the clubhouse and part of the team. You could walk up to or walk past his locker every single day, and it was not only Martin Perez, it was even the veterans like Cole Hamels and Doug Fister. They were all gathered around. They watched pitching videos, they talked pitching, but they just talked about how they were going to go about their business every single day. It is crucial to have a guy like that in the clubhouse. And look, I've seen Bartolo all the way back to 1995 when he was looked like he was throwing 100 on every fastball.
Yeah, how important is that you can even talk about his progression, and then other guys can talk about it? Because you have older guys that used to have, they're not old, but just veteran guys that maybe had bigger fastballs at one point in their career. Doug Fister, Matt Moore, I think are probably two good examples of that. How important is it for these guys to be able to have that conversation with him and relay the progression? Because some guys, Tim Lincecker's another guy, right? Some guys have a hard time when they lose their fastball because they want to rear back, but it's not there. So how important is those conversations for your other pitchers?
It's crucial to have a guy in the clubhouse right in front of you to see, and know that this was a power pitcher and has turned himself into, I don't want to say finesse pitcher, but he's a guy who throws strikes and moves the ball around, and he keeps the ball off the barrel for the most part. And so how he did it, and to be able to communicate that to these other pitchers, and then what were the trials and tribulations of going through it? How did you have to learn or relearn how to utilize your stuff and how to pitch in any given situation? And to have a guy right there is not only was he a power pitcher, but he transitioned into a guy that has to throw more strikes and maneuvered around, and just the success of it also. Switch gears just a little bit to the offensive side of the ball. That top of the first inning, number one, we talk about the wind and the conditions in Arizona. Did that wind knock a few down? Well, I think it definitely knocked Joey's down for sure. We all off the bat thought it was out of the ballpark, but we know that that's a deep portion of the park, and the way the wind swirls here and the way it's blowing tonight, you got to hit it a ton to get it out that direction. But Elvis's ball straight away center field. But you know, Maz, look, he got a hold. I think he got every bit of his.
Yeah, well, it knocked it down to about 420 feet. But we also got to see that shift with Gallo up there and Delino at first base, and boy, it is so muted compared to what we have seen in the past. That was really interesting. Yeah, and one of the things we envisioned having Joey hit in the 2 holes, how could we negate some of the shift? How can we utilize an offensive weapon against the shift also in certain situations? And we've seen it on both sides. We saw it in a game where actually Odor got on second base, and they wanted to play the shift against Joey, and Odor steals third base without even a throw against Kansas City. You see it where they can't shift as much because you overshift. Now you run the risk if you don't get that out at second base. And does Delino continue on to third base? Situations like that. So it can be complicated for some teams. I'm sure they're studying it right now, trying to figure out how to play defense against it. But I like our chances with those guys at the top.
Yeah, it certainly seems like there'll be some positives. It certainly seems like Joey Gallo will probably steal a couple extra singles that he was unable to get last year because of where that second baseman will be. I'm wondering for Delino DeShields, will he change anything? Is there any part of him that would want to stay put, maybe not be as aggressive? I think fans are probably interested to see when he is on first base, just like we saw in the first inning, and Joey Gallo is up. What does that do to how often he steals?
Yeah, you know, Delino started that process last year a little bit, being a little more selective in certain situations of when to steal and when not to. And so he's gotten much better at that. There'll be times where he'll sit and stay, let Joey swing the bat. You know, whether it's a situation where we want Joey to be able to swing the bat as opposed to having the base open and then pitch around him. But that's why, you know, we've got Elvis hitting third for us and Beltre behind him. You know, you can pitch around one of them, but you can't pitch around all of them.
Yeah, even the deep fly balls gets him into scoring position for a guy like Elvis and Adrian following behind there. So it does put you in a lot of good RBI spots. It's a really intriguing look for this offense. Banny, you're down to the last couple hours really of being able to put this team together, and I know you guys have most of it figured out at this point. You're just waiting for the ultimate deadline. But are you guys pretty much done? I mean, it sounds like JD is leaving open the possibility that something could emerge out on the market, but by and large, you guys feel like you're set.
Yeah, you know what? Obviously, you want to keep your options open here at the very end. There's always players that try to get past through the waiver wire. There are trades that teams may have had in their back pocket and are willing to make a move. I know that one thing I do trust is what our scouts and JD does in these situations to go out and find his players. We feel like that if there's a better player out there, they're going to find a way to get him in-house.
All right, Skipper, thanks so much for the time, and we appreciate it. We'll see you opening day.
Outstanding. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Benny.
Jeff Bannister joining us here with the second. Rangers up 3-1. leading as we go to the bottom of the second. And we invite you to enjoy your next Rangers game in the comfort of a climate-controlled suite. Most suite rental packages include parking and a food and beverage package as well. Check it out at texasrangers.com/suites or call 972-RANGERS. It's a great way to see the game and stay comfy while you do it. Comfortable night tonight out here at the ballpark on Monday evening. Team just back from Arizona tonight, then tomorrow afternoon against the Reds. The final two games that will not count for anything. And Wednesday, a day for everybody to gather themselves before we launch this thing for real on Thursday. Bottom of the order for the Rangers in this second inning: Odor, Ryan Rua, and Juan Centeno.
So, of course, Ruben Odor was at bat when Chu got thrown out to end the inning, and so it can be tough on an opposing pitcher when you have a guy that has the power that Odor has, and you think about, you know, what is your first at-bat approach compared to your second at-bat approach. You always talk about wanting to establish your fastball, which he did in that half a first at-bat, if you will. He saw 4 pitches, and he threw Ruben Odor a couple of fastballs early. Well, he comes out here, and it's back-to-back changeups to start off the at-bat.
Bouncer right side. Jeanette there to cover it up. One away.
And the fielder, number 16, Ryan Rua.
Well, here comes Ryan Rua. Well, Rua, another one of the interesting stories this spring in that he has really grabbed a hold of that left field job. And he will begin the season not in a platoon in left as was originally envisioned. He's the everyday guy.
Well, he has to be thrilled with the opportunity. Of course, he has had the opportunity before a couple of years ago when he was the left fielder for this club to start the season. Last year, supposed to be kind of a 3-man platoon, which we all kind of wondered how would that work out. Ultimately, Jurickson Profar got the first crack at it before Delano DeShields eventually took over. But it's a nice opportunity this season for Rua.
Scoops one out there to right field, and it drops in. That's a base hit. Schebler couldn't get it on a dive, and with Rua's good speed, well, they got a double.
Well, this is great hustle by Ryan Rua. You're going to see this ball in the swing off the end of the bat a little bit. He certainly didn't drive it, but he stayed back enough to get this thing in the outfield. And there's that kind of sliding dive attempt, as you mentioned, by Schebler. Instead of going full out, you know, head first dive, he goes with the slide and can't quite get to it. Well, you see the swing there. The off-speed pitch got him out front, but you see how the rest of his body stays back and his hands stay back a little bit. Even though you're fooled by the pitch, you give yourself a chance if you can keep those hands back. And that's exactly what Ryan Rua did. Watch it here from the side. You see it there, starts going, realizes that weight shifting a little bit forward, but keep the hands back enough. Get yourself a double out of that swing.
Scoring position now for Centeno. A little more on Ryan Rua. Let's check in again with Emily.
Yeah, and one of the things Ryan said he worked on in the offseason and in spring training was really trying to shorten up his swing so he could work the middle of the field better. He just wanted everything within his swing just to be a little bit tighter. And so he said he felt like those things were translating in spring training and hopefully into the regular season.
That's a great point. I think when you talk about what's going on so much in the game, swings are getting bigger. Guys are trying to get the ball in the air a lot more.
Well, he becomes the second out of the inning. Unfortunate development right there.
Yeah, it's a base running mistake by Ryan Rua, and he knows it as well. That ground ball was hit pretty much right at him or even a little bit to his right. And the rule of thumb when you're on second base is you don't go unless that ball is to your left. So bad decision there, and Peraza picked up on it right away, made an easy throw to third base to retire Ryan Rua.
Yeah, got to get those bugs out in spring. So now to Shields, and he'll drop the beauty down the third baseline. Forget about it. You can peel it and eat it. Bunt single for the Shields.
That was absolute perfection from Delano DeShields. Watch him here. We'll see that pitch. Like a little slider that kind of hung up a little bit. But where this ball ended up going, this is going to be a great view of an absolutely perfect bunt for a single. And you see Suarez knowing he had no chance, and there was zero chance the ball was going to go foul. So you don't even give the baseball that opportunity. You just pick it up and make sure nobody else advances.
Well, you know, we saw him employ the bunt with some frequency during spring training and with great success. Boy, that is quite the weapon.
That was a clinic, and that was a slider that had some downward action. Didn't have much side to side, but did kind of have that downward break. What a tremendous job, and what a great tool, one that we see less and less of in our game. Delano DeShields, certainly one of the best in the game when it comes to bunting for base hits.
Dallas sends out a mile in the air. And who will catch the cannonball? Well, Eugenio Suarez puts it away. The inning is done. Rangers lead a couple. We've played 2. Rangers lead by 2. The first post-game fireworks show of the season on Friday. Rangers and the Astros. First 7,500 kids 13 and under will receive a Rangers players calendar courtesy of Denny's. Stick around for the post-game fireworks show presented by TXU Energy. Go to TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS. Oh, man. A couple of pickles. It's good. Got to refresh those electrolytes.
Looks pretty delicious.
Even better than the corn dog inside the pickle, wrapped in the fried stuff.
You know, that takes a little bit of courage, I think, to get in there on the, what is it called? The dilly dog?
The dilly dog.
Yeah. One of the many new features here at the ballpark for 2018.
Billy Hamilton leading things off here in the 3rd inning for Cincinnati. Matt Moore getting going here in the 3rd inning. So Pfister done after 2 innings. So he is all set, ready to go for his start in the 2nd game of the season. And now Matt Moore will get his last tune-up before the regular season.
Well, Pfister looks sharp. Had the 1 walk to Adam Duvall in the 2nd inning. But other than that, did a nice job get the ball on the ground for the most part. A couple of strikeouts.
For me, CJ, this guy is really a key to this rotation this year. Spring training, there was some bumps in there. And a guy who's looking to redeem himself after a really difficult season last year with the Giants. And I'm not to say that this particular spring outing has any meaning for him, but certainly come Saturday, it's going to have meaning for him.
Well, it certainly will. And Matt Moore is excited about being here with the Texas Rangers, excited about putting 2017 behind him. It was very interesting to listen to Doug Brocail talk about the adjustments and what they saw in Matt Moore and what needed to happen. And when he got here, when they signed him, and They finally spent some time together. He was already kind of ahead of schedule as far as what the plan was going to be. He was on the same exact page. And part of that is going to be a little bit of a change in repertoire for Matt Moore. That means eliminating that cutter. He's talked about it a lot. Doug Brocail has talked about it a lot as well, and how it's affected velocity. As you see this fastball get by Billy Hamilton. And I'm with you. When you look at this season, you say, okay, well, how are the Rangers going to do it? If they're contending at the end of the year to find themselves in the postseason, we will very likely be saying it was because of the bounce back year of Matt Moore. It was the contributions that Mike Minor made in the rotation. But those are the kind of things that are some question marks coming into this year. And those are the kind of guys that are going to have to step up and have good seasons, whether it's a bounce back season or, in the case of Mike Minor, a return to the rotation. I find it'll be a challenge. Let's say that. It'll be a challenge for the Rangers to find themselves contending without those kinds of things happening.
Well, Moore with a strikeout of Hamilton to get things going. He gets ahead here, 1-2 on Winker. Jesse Winker, today the designated hitter. Moore adding some depth in terms of left-handers in this rotation. A very left-handed rotation for the Rangers. This ball lined out into left field, and that's a base hit for Winker.
Third baseman,
So Pfister gave 2 innings, allowed a run on an infield hit. Walk and 2 strikeouts for him. And so Moore figured to get a couple of innings in here tonight. Eugenio Suarez, the switch hitting third baseman for the Reds, and he takes strike 1. Struck out looking in the first inning. Just like that, 0-2. Now Moore, seeing tonight 92, 93 with a fastball. There was a day where you could see Moore throwing in the upper 90s, 96, 97.
Fastball used to average right around there. And I always remember watching him during those years and so impressed, not just with the numbers, but the effort level that seemed to come across with it. It was a free and easy 96 miles an hour. The ball would just jump out of his hand. And so he has seen that fastball come down a little bit. And we just talked to Jeff Bannister about that. For guys that go through there in their career, and Bartolo Colon is a great example of a guy who made the adjustments and figured it out. And so with a guy like Bartolo potentially being around Matt Moore, there's a lot of really good conversations that can happen. And Matt Moore predominantly is four-seam fastball, and so he's not a guy that's ever really relied on sink the way that we see with Doug Pfister, the two-seam fastball. That could be something that Bartolo talks to him about a little bit.
One rolled into center field by Suarez. So a couple of base runners in this third inning for Cincinnati.
We'll see this pitch here. It did look like it was a four-seam fastball, elevated just a little bit, and it was hit hard, but it was hit on the ground and just out of the reach of Rougned Odor.
Two aboard for Joey Votto. Moore's 28 years old. Runner goes from second. Centeno fires down to third, but Beltre couldn't hold on to it. Like they had Winker. The throw maybe a tad off. Beltre had to leave his feet to make the catch, albeit briefly. Could not hold on to get Winker.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this probably would have been an out. Adrian Beltre had a little bit of ways to go here, and that throw started taking off and running up the line, and that's why you see the contact there. Watch the tag right here. He had it, and ultimately came out of his glove as he was trying to show third base umpire the ball. Didn't happen for Centeno, but a good throw. He has been throwing the ball extremely well and playing some very good defense this spring training. That was a good read, though, by Winker, because we saw Juan Centeno go through the signs, and I was kind of watching along with the signs, and it did appear that they were calling. He was calling for the fastball. Matt Moore shook him off, and I think Winker realized it's probably going to be a first pitch breaking ball and decided to take off.
3-0 to Joey Votto, who has walked more than he has struck out this spring. No shocker there.
We've seen him in a couple of games this spring where Rangers pitchers have struck him out and struck him out looking, with the righties using that two-seam fastball in the inside part of the plate.
Swinging 3-0. Well, you do hear it from guys now and again who they say that their goal during spring training bats is simply see as many pitches as possible. Literally stand there and watch pitches. And sometimes you wonder, maybe that's what Votto has been focusing on a little bit. Or he takes that one somewhere for ball 4. That was pretty good.
That was probably a walk-on reputation for Joey Votto, who, of course, again, is known as a guy who knows the strike zone extremely well. But you saw it right there on the graphic, and that certainly did appear to be a strike. And we've seen a couple of pitches, I think, even a little bit higher than that this evening that have been called strikes. But it was interesting, right? Joey Votto swinging 3-0 there. And that's something that's happened a little bit more. How about this for his career? On 3-0 counts, Joey Votto is batting .563 in his career on 3-0 counts. He's put the ball in play 284 times. He's hit 5 home runs. .563. His OPS? 2003.
Well, this one hit out to the gap right center field, and it's going to roll for a little while. Winker is in. Suarez is in. Votto rounding third. He will score. That's a bases clearing triple for Scooter Gennett. And the Reds have their first lead of the night.
Well, these are the at-bats that you keep an eye on with Matt Moore, because left-handed hitting has been a problem, or at least was a problem for him a year ago. He's trying to throw that fastball down and away, doesn't get it all the way there, and it sits up over the plate in between the Winker base hit, who's a left-handed hitter. And then, of course, we also saw Joey Votto walk. That Scooter Gennett at-bat was an important one for Matt Moore, and that is something for the Rangers they'll be keeping an eye on, his ability to keep those left-handed hitters down, as it was a problem for Matt Moore a year ago.
Now has to deal with Adam Duvall in the infield in. Pumps that one in there for strike 1. And Duvall, a very dangerous hitter. Slashed a little pop this spring training. And sends this one to the right side, but out of play. 0-2 the count.
I think the other part of that, as we were talking about, when your velocity comes down a little bit and how you adjust. There was a time where that fastball that Matt Moore just threw might have been 95 to 97 miles an hour. And a guy like Scooter Gennett probably not going to get the same swing that he just did there. So you can miss location, trying to go down and away, maybe miss up in the zone a little bit. When you have the plus velocity, you can get away with those mistakes a little bit more. But as the velocity comes down, their margin for error really does decrease, and I think that's part of that conversation. Bringing up the focus a little bit and understanding that there's a smaller margin for error to miss spots.
Jose Leclerc getting loose in the pen. Keone Kela was up earlier. There's Leclerc now, who appears to be getting ready. Should Moore run into a little more trouble here? He's at 25 pitches, make it 26, but he does strike out Duvall. 2 away. Well, Moore, the story is, had the Tommy John surgery in 2014 after a couple of starts with Tampa Bay. Came back at the end of 2015, and then it was the following year, 2016, with Tampa Bay. He became one of the hot commodities around the trade deadline and ended up going to San Francisco in a 4-player deal, 3 going from San Francisco to Tampa Bay. last year had the worst season of his career with the Giants in that great pitcher's park in the National League. This year, Moore really hoping to have that bounce back season as he deals with Scott Schebler here.
The breaking ball looks really sharp. We just saw back-to-back curveballs, and also for Adam Duvall striking out on a curveball to finish the at-bat. So you can see the plus side, and possibly we'll see for Matt Moore thought of using that breaking ball a little bit more. And what that does is that'll make that fastball look a little bit quicker, maybe jump on hitters. So we could see a season in which he maybe decides to pitch a little bit more backwards.
Check swing. He did not go. 1-2 the count.
That 2016 season that you were talking about was pretty interesting for Matt Moore. Overall, a 13-12 record. Made 21 starts for the Rays, 4.08 ERA. Made 12 starts for the Giants, 4.08 ERA. I mean, exactly the same. ERA doesn't mean everything, doesn't tell you the whole story, but that is a difficult thing to do. The exact same ERA at 2 different stops during the season.
Now stays 1-2 on Schebler. 2 different stops, 2 different leagues. You almost had to wonder last year with the struggles he had in San Francisco. Well, you know, maybe the National League just doesn't work right for him. And this year back to the American League. And there, you know, some hope maybe that just agrees with him a little bit more. 1-2.
That's certainly a possibility. It usually goes the other way, of course, because the American League is a little bit tougher. But over the course of his career, think about Matt Moore pitching in that American League East, pitching in a difficult ballpark in Tampa, and really a lot of tough ballparks in that division. And he posted a 3.88 ERA in the American League over the course of his career. Basically, that was his time in Tampa. And then the 2 years in San Francisco, 5.12. So there may be a comfort factor for Matt Moore pitching in the AL.
Trump stays 2-2. He got Rangers fans' attention in 2011. Started game 1 of the division series against the Rangers. He had made just 1 big league start in his career to that point, but went 7 shutout innings. It was very dynamic, and you know he's been on the radar ever since. In 2016, when he was heavily rumored to be going somewhere, well, there was a lot of speculation that the Rangers would be interested in making a play for him. As we say, he ended up going to San Francisco. Now, though, it's come full circle, and he is back in the American League, and with Texas is 3-2. And he got Schebler swinging. He didn't want to swing, but couldn't stop himself, and Moore strikes out the side in the 3rd. Elvis Andrus will be leading things off for the Rangers when we come back. Adrian Beltre, Nomar Mazara do as well. Elvis Andrus will start things off in this 3rd inning. Rangers down by a run. Bottom of the 3rd. All-time hits leaders in franchise history. There he is. 5th all-time and climbing the ranks quickly Good chance to pass Juan Gonzalez this year. Probably get Palmeiro next year. Already holds pretty much every stolen base record in the franchise's history. And Malley starts him off with strike one.
And wanting to increase that number, right? Something he's talked about. You know, setting goals. A lot of these Rangers talk about setting goals and not necessarily wanting to.
Well, drops that one in front of Schebler. Andrews. Good start to the third inning. Had the double in the first. Now that's sinking liner right there.
Well, I was going to say for Elvis Andrews and a lot of these Rangers, they kind of keep it to themselves a little bit as far as what they may want to do and any kind of statistical goals that they set. As you see Elvis doing an excellent job here, keeping the hands in, watch the back elbow close to his body and driving that ball to right field. And Schebler again, as we've seen him now twice tonight, just missing some balls that he's coming in on.
Yeah. That is not a play that he appears to enjoy as Adrian Beltre takes strike one.
And as we saw, even with the Nomar Mazara homer, balls are probably getting knocked down a little bit, which could make it a little bit trickier in the outfield.
Now he's pitched that one lifted high in the air out to right. Schebler actually comes in a couple of steps. And there's one away. Well, here comes Mazara, a man who blasted the home run to center field. And I think this thing got knocked down significantly.
Well, I think our extra center fielder is going to tell you exactly what happened. There's a ball that was elevated. A nice swing from Nomar Mazara, and he crushes this thing. But watch, even our extra center fielder will have to come in and catch that ball a little bit, right? A little bit more difficult when you're trying to do it on an incline. But, you know, watching that ball, I think, without a doubt, the wind held it up a little bit.
Mazara's third home run of the spring, and he takes a strike here from Malley. Timeout granted by our plate umpire, Lance Barrett. Now, it's interesting with Mazara, 22 years old. And here's a guy who's already posted 2 seasons of 20-plus home runs. And he's just 22 years old. 1-1 the count.
I think the possibilities are endless for Nomar Mazara. We talked to Anthony Iapoce a couple of games ago during the broadcast, and he had talked about not wanting to be too hyperbolic about it, but at the same time saying, you know, this guy really is the limit for Nomar Mazara, the damage that he has done already so early in his career. And of the group of young studs that the Rangers have, and they have a handful, and Joey Gallo and Rougned Odor, think about Nomar Mazara in that group. He's probably the most complete hitter of the group that's going to give you power, but also use the whole field. And there it is, 100 RBI seasons in your age 22 or younger season. Nomar Mazara and Mike Trout, the only ones to do it since 2007, and you see a couple of other very impressive names on this list. And of course, you know, the RBI is a team dependent stat, but there's still something to be said for guys that can drive runners in when they're on base. And Nomar Mazara, with his approach, and I mentioned that all fields approach that he has, so it gives him the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I think that's the point that's really worth considering, right? Because we talked about it with regard to Albert Pujols. He's very good at that. As this ball hit out to center field, but Hamilton will have time to get underneath it. And there are 2 gone.
Yeah, and as part of the game, too, as we study advanced metrics and certainly become a sport that is very analytical, that the analytical community has a tendency to dismiss. And I get why, and I think there's a valuable discussion there. But you're going to have a hard time finding men in uniform that will say, oh, the RBI is meaningless. It is not. Guys that have done it and been there understand how difficult it is and how important it is to be good in those situations. And that was certainly a fun part of Nomar Mazara's 2017 season. I think the next step that you see for him is probably a little bit of I don't want to say a spike, but, you know, smaller increases in the on-base percentage and the batting average as they come up a little bit. And then you're talking about really becoming a complete hitter.
Chu singled in the first inning, but was caught stealing to win the inning. Steps in here with 2 away. Andrews at first base, and the Rangers trailing by a run. Elvis likes the attention. Two and one. Now, Chu's had a nice spring, very consistent from the start. It's the guy the last couple of years has adjusted the way he prepares. Remember 2 years ago, he was injured on and off really all year. Last year, did a great job of staying healthy and staying in the lineup. And this year says he feels even better coming into spring training. Last year, they pointed out that he made some big adjustments in the way he trained and the way he got ready. He got some advice from some of the more veteran players on the team that, listen, it isn't the amount of weights you can push around. It's staying flexible. High fly ball out there to left center field and carrying all the way to the fence. Just past Duvall. Andrews got a great start. He ties the game on Chu's RBI double.
Well, that'll give you an idea of what training a little bit smarter can do for you at 35 years old. Shin-Soo Choo hammered this baseball. I think this was another one that was knocked down by the wind, because off the bat, I thought this thing was going to have a chance to get out. It's a two-seam fastball. You get a good look at it there, a little bit of sink to it as well. Even watch the jump here. It looked like maybe an overjump or just a misread in left field by Duvall. But that ball off the bat looked like it had a little bit more in it. I think Chu might have thought the same thing. As you see, Elvis all smiles as usual as he crosses home plate.
Now the go-ahead run in scoring position for Odor. Boogie grounded out in the second inning, 0 for 1. Now look at those run production numbers for Odor lately versus the first 17 games, just 2 RBIs. O'Malley runs it in tight. Odor tonight batting 7th. It will be interesting, CJ. The top of the order looks like what we would see on opening day. Justin Verlander expected to start game 1 for the Astros on Thursday afternoon here. Odor sends this one down the left field line, but well out of play. But you figure Robinson Chirinos will have to start behind the plate, right-handed hitter, and it may alter what you do with the bottom third of the order. Do you think you see Odor batting 7th? Do you see him batting 8th on opening day?
I would guess that he would bat 7th, but I do think there's an opportunity there to potentially break up your lefties, right? That's the one thing I would be concerned about, depending on the opposing team's bullpen. If they have that really good left-handed reliever, you don't want to do them any favors and give those guys 3 left-handed hitters in a row, the way that we see in this evening's lineup, where it's Mazara, Chu, and Odor batting 6, 7, 8. Right, no spots and thinking about going to excuse me, was it 6, 7, 8? How's my math there? Yeah, 5, 6, 7. Right. 5, 6, 7. So the idea of doing that, and maybe do you want to slide in Robinson Chirinos 7th spot, slide Odor down 1. I mean, obviously that's a huge power threat in the 8th spot, but that would be the one reason I might consider it.
Well, this ball hit a mile in the air, deep to right field, and gone. That's the Ruben Odor that we remember so well. An impressive home run to right field, and Texas leads again at 6-4.
Bat him 4th, you know, whatever you think would probably fit best for Ruben Odor. But you're right, this ball was crushed, and Ruben Odor right now is swinging a very hot bat. And of course, we say this all the time, but at the right time, as the season gets ready to start here, it is an elevated pitch, and that is the pitch that Ruben Odor does so well on, and that is his challenge this year, because he slugs fastballs that are up in the zone. The issue that he runs into is when he chases the ones out of the zone, and that's where that discipline has to come in
for Rougned Odor, but you look over his history, and especially the last couple of seasons, he does so well on those fastballs that are up, especially up middle and up and away. But what becomes important is that he doesn't go above that zone, which can be tricky for him. But you can see the damage that he can do on those pitches.
Now Rua, and he launches one out to center field, but it's not going to carry. Hamilton circles underneath it, and the inning is done. But the Rangers back in front.
Well, it was a red-hot Rougned Odor getting the pitch he loves the most, one up in the zone. And we see it all the time. He knew right away, dropped the bat, head down. Big smiles for red-hot Rougned Odor. The push.
Tonight, first game back here at Globe Life Park. Now to the fourth inning, and with the bottom third of the order coming up for the Reds, another pitching change for the Rangers. Jose Leclerc, the right-hander, checking in.
For Matt Moore, too many pitches thrown in that inning, and at this point in spring training, just don't want to push it too much. And so Jose Leclerc will get an opportunity. A good story a year ago for the Texas Rangers. Overall 3.94 ERA, just 4 home runs allowed in those 45 2/3 innings, and the guy who showed us that devastating changeup that he has and played an important role for most of the season in the Rangers bullpen.
When he does that right there, he's pretty good. Fastball, 95, right in there for strike one. When he's throwing strikes, Leclerc is a really, really tough at bat for guys. Where things get away from him sometimes is the command eludes him. There's a changeup, and it's 0-2.
Hey, you saw those pitches right there. That is his combination. Really good fastball, excellent changeup. What we see, 14 miles an hour difference between those two pitches, but he sells it with arm speed. Very difficult to pick up for both lefties and righties, because what he does so well with the changeup, which you just saw right there, is it acts like a slider, and it actually cuts away from right-handed hitters. Your traditional changeup stays to your arm side. So more often than not, when a righty-handed pitcher throws a right-handed hitter a changeup, it just kind of stays straight, or maybe even tails in to the hitter. But he can actually cut it intentionally and make it go the other way.
One, two. Jose Peraza grounded out of the second inning, but it was a productive ground out. Got the Reds' first run of the game in. Well, Emily talked about it earlier tonight, but Jose Leclerc likely to begin the season on the big league roster. And the changeup strikes out Peraza, one away. So he, if we were to guess, he would be on the roster.
Yep, I would think so. Nothing official yet, as we just talked about with Jeff Bannister. You should see the changeup there elevated a little bit from Jose Leclerc, but for the Rangers, you want to make sure you leave those options open. There's still a couple of days before you actually have to set your final roster, and you don't want to announce or tell anybody that they've made the team and then have to change your mind if something comes up. You're at that time of year right now where some good players could become available, maybe some guys that are out of options, and so a lot of conversations going on right now among executives.
Well, this ball hit well out to left field, but Rua with time to get underneath it. 2 gone. Kind of brings up Billy Hamilton.
Hey, take a look at this real quick from Jose Leclerc and the quick pitch. We talk about changing guys' timings. Never came set, and he thought that he could catch Mesoraco off guard. I guess he did a little bit. He still put a pretty good swing on that fastball, though he caught it off the end of the bat. But that's another thing we see more and more of in the game. Guys will make adjustments to their delivery, the timing of the delivery.
There's a big changeup on the outside corner for a strike to Hamilton, who struck out last inning. Beltre in tight at third base. Everybody else is back. Hamilton ruins a bat for that strike.
That will give you an idea of the heaviness of the fastball that Jose Leclerc throws. Just took a slice out of Billy Hamilton's bat. Now, you and I both know about those wraps that players put on their bats, or we get them for our boys. They're really cool, the stuff that's available now. That broken bat, did they take the wrap off? Or?
No, I don't think so.
Big leaguer doesn't, right?
No.
Kid does for sure.
Well,
Got to.
Yeah, well, of course you would.
I'm taking it off.
Little bouncer second base, and Odor's right there. It's a 1-2-3. 4th inning for Jose Leclerc. Needed just 8 pitches. Pardon me, 10 pitches to get it done. We go to the bottom of the 4th.
Rangers leading the Reds 6-4 as we head to the bottom of the 4th here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Juan Centeno up to bat for the Rangers. He, of course, behind the plate tonight, and largely because Robinson Chirinos is enjoying some father time. His wife Heidi gave birth to their son Julian on March 24th. Baby Julian was 7 pounds 12 ounces. Mom, baby, dad, and big brother David doing well. Congratulations to the Chirinos family.
Yeah, that is great. Thank you, Emily. So much going on for Robinson Chirinos these days, and there's one of those. I guess that's the thing that overwhelms all of it, right? You're bringing a new one into the family. An amazing week for him as Centeno deposits a base hit to start the 4th inning.
And of course, you don't get to choose when you have your children. Try to plan the best that you can, but for Robinson Chirinos and family this time of year, a lot going on, just even getting back here to Dallas, of course, to start the year and adding on to your family as we see this pitch up over the plate. Location missed against Juan Centeno, who's had a really nice offensive spring as well to go with the great defensive spring that he has had. And he continues to contribute, and I got to believe give the Rangers a lot of confidence in naming him their backup catcher. Not officially done yet, but he has certainly done everything and maybe even more than they expected this spring.
Let's see if he tries to steal second. Now that would be then you'd really have something.
Yep, that's where you got to stay within yourself. Know your limits.
DeShields hits this ball well out to left field. The ball to his left, and he's able to get there and cut it down. Centeno will have to return to first base. Boy, off the bat, that one looked like it was headed to the gap.
Oh, it was well struck, and I think that's what's important for Delino. DeShields. Good contact. Not a bad pitch at all. Came over the plate a little bit, but down. Look at that swing from Delino. I'm excited to watch what he is going to be able to do this year. The confidence right now, what he went through last year, having to earn that playing time again. He did when he got his opportunity. He ran with it. The idea of Delino going wire to wire as a leadoff hitter for the Rangers will be a lot of fun to watch. So, official numbers, in case you already didn't know, for Juan Centeno.
Okay.
0 stolen bases.
His career?
With 0 caught stealing. So, 2 ways to look at it.
Really only one way to look at it. Gallo takes a big swing at that one, but just got underneath it. Eventually, it'll come down. And Schebler is there.
Scott Schebler just had a look after he caught that ball, and he's thinking to himself, I think I'm looking forward to this evening being over. As we know, right field in Texas can be a little bit tricky to play. And then when Joey Gallo does this, and remember his previous at-bat, the hang time on his pop-up was absurd, as they often are. But watch this here as he's going back, and he's thinking to himself, I am glad this is over. I mean,
it was still there?
Really amazing. Ray guy-like.
Now Andrews. Had a good night.
So do you think it's close, like the NFL's best punters to Joey Gallo's fly balls, or is he just crush them?
Well, I mean, our guys, we're getting pretty good these days, you know, at tracking these things. I mean, we could get the hang time on that last fly ball. Or...
I'd like to see a side-by-side. Who's the best punter in the NFL right now?
I don't know.
Is that Polish guy still kick for the Raiders? Or is he like retired? Is that like 10 years ago?
Well, I don't know.
Jankowski?
Wait, he was a kicker.
Oh, he's a kicker?
There's a line drive left field, and mercifully this conversation will come to a close. Let's just bring Ray Guy back and let's look at some of the old video.
Just leave it at that.
All right, to the 5th inning. Rangers up by 2.
Goodbye, sweater.
Thursday to celebrate opening day of a new season for the Rangers. We've got a very special extended Rangers Live pregame presented by Ford at 1 o'clock, and then first pitch at 12:30. Pardon me, 2:30. We're not going back in time. Don't miss Rangers opening day on Fox Sports Southwest. Wow, that's
well, 12:30 Pacific.
True. Yeah. True. Spring training flub Raymond error. Here we go.
That's right. Your history has made spring training something that we're not worried about with you. We know where you're going to be by opening day.
I should be ready.
You've earned it.
Well,
training numbers mean nothing.
Diekman will come in here in the 5th inning. He's got the top of the order. We talk about early in the game. We talked about Ryan Rua and the story that he brings into this season. And here's another one of the great stories for the Rangers, and should be a lot of fun to follow this year. And that is Jake Diekman at full strength now. He's looked great during spring training. And now likely his last spring training tune-up before the regular season.
And that conversation that you and I have been having, and I think a lot of Ranger fans have been having as well, when you start to look at 2018 compared to last year, part of what's going to get better and what's expected to help this team compared to what happened a year ago is the fact that you have people from within, like Jake Diekman, who weren't around the whole year. Impact players like Jake Diekman, impact players like Adrian Beltre for an entire season. Hopefully, I mean, obviously you can never predict what will happen with injuries, but when you think about how much time he missed and how much time Cole Hamels missed and what that can mean to this team, plus the new additions as well, it's a reason to be optimistic about what the Rangers have in store for this season. He was greatly missed last year at the beginning of the season. The bullpen was struggling. Nothing you could do about it, but having a healthy, strong Jake Diekman throwing 96-mile-an-hour fastballs at the knees is something to be excited about.
Let's come back here, 3-2 now to Winker. Got a bouncer down to first base. Joey Gallo right there. And that is out number 1.
And add Delano DeShields to that list. As far as the idea of him getting consistent playing time and expected to hold down that position from beginning to end. That wasn't the case a year ago. As impactful as he was, it wasn't an entire season of Delano DeShields. So another reason to be optimistic about what was just here last year.
Eugenio Suarez, and he takes strike 1. Suarez 1 for 2. Diekman, the 4th pitcher of the night for the Rangers. Doug Fister went 2, looked pretty good. Gave up a run on an infield hit, 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. Matt Moore pitched the 3rd inning, allowed 3 runs on 3 hits, also issued a walk, but he struck out the side. And then Jose Leclerc was delightful in the 4th inning. Check swing, did he go? No. 1-2 on Suarez.
Give you an idea what the slider is looking like tonight. Look at Suarez. You got to be kidding me. I mean, that thing was well in the dirt, but he could not hold up, and that just tells you how tight the rotation is. Get a better look at it from the side. And
2-2 the count. Diekman working quickly. He's run the count full, so he had a full count to Winker. Now goes full on Suarez. Joey Votto waiting on deck.
Jake Diekman talked about differential earlier with Jose Leclerc, and fastball to changeup. When you go from 96 to 81 on a slider, it's not an easy thing to do either. When you talk about that much of a differential, most guys, if they're throwing mid-90s, their slider more often than not is going to be upper 80s at least. Jake Diekman again not slowing the arm down at all. It's a bigger break on a slower breaking ball. And you see how Suarez reacted.
7th pitch of the at bat. And got him looking. Strikeout for Diekman, 2 away here in the 5th inning.
Well, this is a filthy at bat. Suarez had about had enough here. Diekman was trying to go in, but at this point, a 3-2 count, you just want to make sure you're throwing a strike. And he does at 96. And it really ended up being kind of painted on the outside corner, and Suarez just frustrated because in the back of your mind, there's an 82-mile-an-hour slider in there, and you're trying to protect against both, and it's a very difficult thing to do.
That jumps ahead of Otto, 0-1. Seven Rangers strikeouts so far. Fister had a couple. Moore had 3. Leclerc and now Diekman each with 1. Tapper toward first. Well, that's an easy play for Joey Gallo. A 1-2-3 for Jake Diekman. We're halfway there tonight. Rangers lead the Reds 6-4. So to the bottom of the fifth inning with the Rangers up by 2. Don't miss out on the first bobblehead of the season. Come on out to Globe Life Park on Saturday. Rangers taking on the Astros in a 3:05 game. First 15,000 fans get an Adrian Beltre home run counter bobblehead courtesy of TXU Energy. Go to TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS. Good one to have. Beltre leading things off here in the fifth inning. He'll be doing it against a new Reds pitcher. He's also making a couple of defensive changes here in the fifth inning. So that time of game in these spring games. Veteran Adrian Beltre ready to go. We check in with Emily Jones.
Thank you very much, guys. Pleased to be joined by the man who just had a very nice outing. Thank you. Jake, how does it feel to be back out there a year later?
Feels good. I participated. I actually got to play, so that was fun. So yeah, just actually being out there and being able to pitch, that's a blast.
For you, this offseason, looks like you've put on some weight. You've got to be, feel like you're stronger than you were this time last year. The perspective that you've also gained, having went through what you did, what has that done for you?
It made everything a lot simpler. I really don't stress over baseball anymore. I mean, I still get very upset if you give up runs or anything. But yeah, it's still just a game. So that part, really put it in perspective for me.
You feel like you're kind of becoming the Papa Bear out there too in the bullpen?
Sorta. Yeah, we got a lot of jicks down there today. So, I mean, there's 30-plus guys down there today. Yeah. And Lentz comes down there and he has a lot more time than anyone.
Yeah. This is true. This is true. But are you kind of embracing a little more of a leadership role out there?
Yeah, I mean, sorta. It's still the bullpen. We're crazy anyway. Yeah. So it's very hard to cage that in.
Yeah. For you, what are your goals for this season? Do you set statistical goals? You just want to stay healthy? What is it?
I don't really set stat goals. I said, okay, I want to be healthy all year. I would love to pitch in 75 games. Just stuff like that.
For you, looking around the clubhouse, seeing new faces, old faces, how do you feel the chemistry came along as camp went along?
Really good. It helps that they bring in so many people. Everyone really seems to gel a lot together. And yeah, coming on this trip, even bringing the younger kids that could be up here sometime during the year, that's a big part of it.
Is there a lot of Tim Lincecum brain picking out there in the bullpen?
We talk a lot of video games out there.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
what are you crazy kids playing these days, Jake?
playing what all the crazy kids are playing, Fortnite.
Oh, Fortnite.
Yeah.
Okay. Not familiar. Is Tim playing Fortnite as well?
Yes, he is. Oh. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you playing each other?
We play with each other.
Oh, so you're on the same team?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this helps your pitching in any way?
Yeah, competitive edge. I feel like it really keeps me locked in.
For sure?
Yeah.
For sure. One more thing. As far as where you pitch in a game, 7th, 8th, 9th, is there any particular place where you feel more comfortable or most comfortable?
On the mound at some point during a game. Yeah.
So easy. Now you're just so happy about everything. You just want to play and play.
Let's just play, you know, whenever that phone rings.
All right.
Yeah.
Jake, thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you, Emily.
You're very welcome. Guys, I'll send it back up to you.
Well, that just ruined my night.
Fortnite?
How am I supposed to go home and tell my children that they should not be playing Fortnite when Jake Diekman's making a great sales pitch for it and talking about how it positively affects him as a pitcher?
Yeah, right.
That's a problem for me. So hopefully my children are not watching. But it's all in moderation, as those guys will tell you whenever they ask them. And make sure you check out gutitedoutfoundation.org, of course, which is Jake's foundation that he started. Some good personal blogs in there, and then also a good opportunity to support what he has gone through. The IBD community. He's doing some great work. That is certainly something that is positive that has come out of all this for him, and it was really interesting to hear him talk about perspective. This game brings so much pressure for so many guys, and trying to manage that over the course of your big league career, your career period, can be difficult and can be draining. And you have a major life event like he had, and it does help you keep things in perspective a little bit more. Doesn't mean he's any less competitive, but maybe once the game's over, it is really over and he can leave it on the field, which is not an easy thing to do for a lot of players.
Into the Fortnite thing, I think the video game's a big escape for a lot of the guys. And he tweeted last night, I think, or Instagrammed or something, a screenshot of his victory royale. And my kids went nuts today. They were so excited that Jake Diekman is a gamer. And talking to some of the guys in the clubhouse, they're like, oh no, he's like really hardcore gamer.
It's tough, man, because he's such a great guy. He's a really nice role model example. And it's really messing up my parenting program. I got to be honest. I don't know what to do right now. And by the way, that Adrian Belte strikeout, first one of the night for the Rangers. And we know, of course, that can be an issue sometimes with this offense, a high-powered offense. Along with that comes strikeouts. But tonight so far through 4 2/3, just one strikeout.
Yeah, I was going to make the same point because Wandy Peralta, now the new pitcher, replacing Malley. Malley gave up 10 hits, 6 runs, and we saw some big swings. I mean, it's not like the Rangers were cutting down on their swings. They were taking the big home run hacks, and still the 0 strikeouts. That was also the first walk. Just a moment ago there to Chu.
Did you call him Wiley Peralta?
Wandy.
Oh, is that who's in here?
Oh, boy.
Gotta get on the same page.
Oh, dear. It's all right.
Because, of course, Willie Peralta's right-handed. I knew that.
It's 1-1 on Odor.
Plays for the Royals. Let's take it back to this third inning from Rougned Odor. The high fastball. You see the reaction right away from Malley, and the reaction right away from Rougned Odor, who knew that he got all of this baseball. Mentioned how he has been swinging it well as of late, showing off the power here late in spring training. And listen, you'd love every guy to hit 450 with 5 home runs in spring training, but what's most important is that you're swinging a good bat at the end of spring training.
That line out ends the inning. We'll go to the 6th inning tonight. The Rangers enjoying the 2-run lead. Well, 6th inning, and Matt Bush will take over on the hill here. So the Rangers getting a lot of guys in the game. Started with Pfister, Moore, Leclerc, Diekman, and now Bush, the 5th pitcher of the night.
Of course, Matt Bush with the big fastball, 58 strikeouts a year ago in his 52 in the 3rd innings. He said this offseason that he wanted to take a shot at the starting rotation. The Rangers granted him that and gave him an opportunity. He's probably, I guess, the first half of spring training, but ultimately decided that they needed that big right-handed arm back in the bullpen. So Matt Bush will be a member of the 2018 bullpen with the Rangers. And the fastball that can touch triple digits, certainly a welcome fastball, and a deeper bullpen than it was a year ago.
Bush will get Scooter Gennett to start things off in the 6th inning. And you see the 97 with the fastball. Look at that bullpen.
Why not just go to unlimited rosters so we could see that every night? I'm sure Rob Manfred would love that. With all the pitching changes. By the way, for those that don't know, with the terminology that Jake Diekman used, and he said we have a lot of JICs down there. Of course, that is the acronym JIC, just in case, which is often used in spring training, and that is exactly what most of those arms are down there for, just in case there is a problem and they're short on pitchers. They certainly don't want to put any of the guys that are expected to break camp with the team in a position where they have to throw too much. So the JICs are there just in case.
And a lot of them. One, and that one is up high. 2-1 the count. But that's a thrill for those guys, right? I mean,
sure.
They know they're not going to break camp with a 25-man roster. They're headed off to a minor league season somewhere, but still fun to be with the big club for these games. The 2-1 pitch fouled away.
Well, serves as a nice little motivator as well, right? Come to a big league stadium, big league hitters. The field is always nicer. The lights are always brighter. There's TV cameras everywhere. An extra deck or two on top of the stadium compared to what you usually see in the minor leagues. And even though it's only a spring training game, anytime you have the opportunity to be in this environment, it's nothing but a positive.
Foul ball off the end of Gennett's bat. 2-2 the count. As we get going in the 6th inning, Rangers lead by 2. Every starter in the Rangers lineup is gone. And it just happened this inning. We see a new face at every single position. Yeah, this ball ripped foul the other way. Look out, that one got in the seats in a hurry. Hopefully everybody's all right down there.
I think it does appear that way. Smiles, some close calls.
And some wide eyes.
Yeah. More importantly, who got the ball?
Another 3-2 pitch. And this one hit sharply up the middle. Profar is there. And he's so to first. Got back off the bag, but they put the tag on Gennett, or did he miss him? Gennett's holding.
Well, he's staying because Scooter Gennett does not believe that he was tagged out, but the call at first was that the tag was made, and no instant replay in spring training, and I think Scooter Gennett may have a case. Let's see it here. Yeah.
And he missed the bag.
Anyway,
that's why he came back.
Missed the tag, missed the bag. That's it. Just go back to the dugout. That's going to be the case.
Duvall turns away from ball 1. Well, Duvall be a big part of things for the Reds once again this year. So we take a look at some of the other changes. New third baseman. That is Lopes, Christian Lopes. On second base. Hanser Alberto coming in. You just saw Profar throwing to Preston Beck over at first. So there's your new infield. And Duvall hammers this ball out to center field. Long run out there for Tochi. He'll look up, and that one is out onto the hill. So Duvall with a solo home run makes it a 1-run game, and kind of hard to believe it's his first home run this spring for a guy who's going to hit a lot more during the regular season.
Well, a guy with a lot of power. And for Adam Duvall, certainly thrilled to get at least that one under his belt. Again, spring training doesn't matter as much, but a good swing, hard contact after a strikeout and a walk in his first 2 at-bats. Leads back over the plate just a little bit on Matt Bush. Coach, gave it a run and ran out of room.
And now a strike to Scott Schebler. Bush has already spent a little energy in this 6th inning. Got Jeanette to ground out. Long battle with him, and then Duvall with a home run. Just like that, 0-2 to Schebler. This ball hit sharply on the ground, but Profar right there with the backhand. 2 away. Mentioned that we gave you the new infielders, new catcher as well. Brett Nicholas. And in the outfield, Drew Robinson takes over in left. Looks like he'll break camp with the club. In right field, Destin Hood. Check swing, and Peraza apparently did not go. Jose Peraza 0 for 2 so far tonight.
And the nice clean changes from Jeff Bannister, right? Always our favorite, where, as an example, Church and Profar goes to short. He hits an Elvis Andrews spot in the line. We do enjoy that very much. Makes our life just a little bit easier. Although it has absolutely nothing to do with us, as they're now trying to make a phone call to let us know that it's not about us at all. Clean it up a little bit.
I'm sorry, hang on. I'm talking to Banning. 1-2. Yeah, although sometimes I will say, you know, sometimes these spring training games, they'll announce, oh, they're all straight changes. And then the half inning comes around, and guys aren't where they would be expected to be there in the lineup. It's all okay. That's not what spring training is about. 1-2 pitch. Nice reaction there by Peraza.
Those 96 up at the top of the zone.
Full count.
I mentioned earlier Jake keeping the difference with his breaking ball. There's Matt Bush's slider at 91 miles an hour. It's a different kind of pitch, a smaller break and the harder velocity, and he even has the curveball in there to slow it down even more. But 96 to 91 with a slider, also impressive in a different way.
Bush now 20 pitches into the inning. Payoff on the way. And that ball hit out to right field. Hood tracking it toward the line, and the inning is done. The home run by Duvall, though, makes it a 1-run game as we go to the bottom of the 6th. go to the last of the 6th inning. And I want to let you know you get more baseball for your buck with full or half-season ticket plans. You lock in the best prices and the best seating locations and enjoy all the exclusive perks that come along with it. Season ticket holders for 2018 may select their seats this summer for the new Globe Life Field opening in 2020. Just go to TexasRangers.com/seasons today. Well, there you go, CJ. I was going to get you one of those.
Appreciate you thinking of me. Well, you said should have. So, disappointment once again at Christmas time, thanks to you.
Whoa, now there's a little one.
Wow.
And that is a sweet lid right there for that one. Now, Drew Robinson lead things off here in the 6th inning. And a lot of changes this inning for Cincinnati. Marcel Iglesias, the right-hander, on a relief. 1-1 to Robinson, his first at bat of the night. Just came in defensively for Ryan Rua. Nice bunt dropped over to the third base side for Iglesias. Good anticipation, takes care of Robinson, one away.
Well, Iglesias got off the mound in a hurry. This was not that bad of a bunt by Drew Robinson, but he hopped incredibly quickly and got to this ball very fast and made a great throw. Watch how quickly this happened. You're going to get a great view of it here. Watch that hop real quick, just a couple of steps, and got rid of it. It's a good job fielding his position by Iglesias. Drew Robinson probably wanted to get that down the line just a little bit more.
Brett Nicholas takes a strike. '97 on the heater there from Iglesias.
This guy's got a good arm, and he's really settled into the bullpen. He came through the Reds as a starter his first year, 2015. 2016, he had just 5 starts, 32 relief appearances, and then last year ultimately ended up locking down that closer role. 28 saves for him in his 63 games, 2.49 ERA, nearly 11 strikeouts per 9. It's a big arm out of a guy that you look at from the outside, just 6'2", 188. Not an imposing figure, but a really, really good arm.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Nicholas. But a 1, full count. Iglesias with that little step back and then the pitch, and he gets Nicholas swinging. 2 away. Back to the top of the order. And we should say hello, by the way, to all our friends at Fox Sports Ohio joining us for tonight's broadcast. Great to be with everybody back in the Midwest. Good to see Johnny Bench at the ballpark tonight. Those 2 dudes.
A couple of the old school Cincinnati Reds jerseys.
There they are.
From the other side.
You know, you get to this time of year, though, and it is maybe baseball's greatest tradition, the fact that opening day has always run through Cincinnati. You know, I've always loved that fact of the opening day parade, all the festivities, the game's oldest franchise, a lot of great history. Oh, 2 and a swing and a miss, including the first-round draft pick in like 1994. Tochi down swinging. Inning is done. We'll go to the 7th in a 1-run game.
summary so far here this evening. Doug Fister started this game for the Rangers. 2 innings of work, just 1 hit allowed. There was a run, a walk, and a couple of strikeouts there, but threw the ball extremely well. Nomar Mazara, a 2-run home run, and then this fun one from Rougned Odor. It was high, and it was very far. The Rangers offense looking very good tonight. Doug Fister doing a nice job as well, and here we are, 6-5 game. Now Chris Martin, the right-hander, will be on out of that Texas Rangers bullpen. There are the numbers with Hokkaido. Nippon Ham Fighters, 40 games for Chris Martin, and absolutely dominated in the NPB. 6 walks in 37 2/3 innings, and just 2 home runs allowed. He spent a couple of years in Japan and earned himself an opportunity back here in the States. And another new arm in that Texas Rangers bullpen. And really, you think about this entire pitching staff, and there has been quite the makeover. Chris Martin, one of those many new Rangers coming out of the pen.
A local product from right here in Arlington, and his first pitch upstairs for a ball. So 7th inning, and Martin, the 6th pitcher of the game for the Rangers. And fouled way back out of play. Tomorrow afternoon, these same 2 teams scheduled to get together for the final spring training or exhibition season game. Both will have Wednesday to prepare for the opener on Thursday. And this ball fouled away as well. 1-2. Philip Irvin. Martin, the tall right-hander. That one spoiled. That stays 1-2.
Martin's got a good fastball. That one at 95 miles an hour. And of course, with that great height, of course, gives him an opportunity to create the leverage as well. You saw that ball get way in on the hands of Cruz.
To the count.
See that one just missing on our pitch tracks. That'll be a new feature, Fox tracks, that we have for this year. I like it's very subtle, but give you an idea where the strike zone is.
Well, his first strikeout of the night.
Let's take a look at this replay. You get the Fox tracks look at this. Very well located fastball just on the inside corner, and I think based on how the at-bat went, good decision here by Martin to go back in. Cruz unable to get to it.
Thanks for correcting or catching the Cruz thing. I had the wrong. I don't know. I'm so confused as to who's who here.
Wait, what happened?
Is this Cruz too? I just. Because I had Irvin in there a second ago.
So.
And then I thought you corrected it correctly with Cruz, but now I see Cruz in there. I know he's not batting back to back.
That would be illegal. So I'm going off of MLB at bat app. I don't mind placing blame onto others. So it was Irvin that hit first.
Okay. All right.
And Cruz now. I don't know what's going on in Chelsea right now, but MLB at bat headquarters. We're all counting on you.
Well, I think we got it straight now.
Well, they're probably thinking
2-1.
You're at the ballpark. Maybe just look down and look at the back of the next jersey and pick up a roster and see exactly what's going on. Which would be a fair rebuttal.
Well, I'm thrilled for the folks in Cincinnati who are getting a little flavor of what fans here get to enjoy all year long. Goodness me. 2-1. And a big swing and a miss. 95 on that fastball from Chris Martin. Well, just a wandering, quite the long journey for Martin through baseball. Guy who has really stuck with it. Lands with his hometown team in a 2-2 off the plate. And should figure a pretty substantial role in the bullpen this year for the Rangers. It's not as if he, just sort of landed with the Rangers, the team with whom he grew up, and feels fortunate to be there. I mean, they're going to count on him to be a big contributor this year in the pen.
Oh, definitely, and he has the arm for it. He has the experience. Of course, he had some big league experience prior to going over to Japan with some mixed results, but went over there, and as so many guys talk about the ability to relax a little bit, knowing what your payday is going to be, the pressure comes off of you, and he really performed, and along with that comes a confidence builder. Now he's ready to take that second shot at the big leagues after that trip to Japan, and the Rangers believe in it. And as you mentioned, will take on an important role. There are a lot of good right-handed arms. There are arms, period, down in that bullpen, but some new right-handed arms, and a guy like Chris Martin to go along with Jesse Chavez. These guys expect to make a difference. Tim Lincecum at some point later this year. He's ready to go.
Bouncer shortstop, Profar right there. 2 away. Talking about the season opener on Thursday, you look at the Rangers' first couple of weeks of the season. Just the 4 games against Houston to start things here at home. Then it's off to the road for a short roadie. And then back home for a 2-team homestand. Toronto and the Angels coming through town. But a lot of games with the Astros early on for the Rangers. 7 of their first 17 against their in-state rivals. That could really set the tone early for both teams.
Well, there's certainly some good opportunity there. Of course, there's no escaping the fact that 19 games with the Houston Astros this year. They're a team that looks very good on paper once again, maybe even a little bit better than they were a year ago when they won the World Series. And so those early matchups would matter, especially when they get to set their rotation. You see their top 4 starters right out of the chute. But I think, listen, every game matters, but these early ones, I think for the Texas Rangers, especially against the Astros, setting the tone a little bit, kind of reminding the Astros how good of a team they are and have been. When you think about head-to-head the last couple of years against the Astros, certainly the Rangers have done well, and I think they would like to reestablish that early this season.
2 balls and a strike on Hernan Iribarren. Yep, there's a great intensity to that rivalry rather, and we saw it last year, both at the beginning and the end of the season. We've seen it every year since it has emerged as an in-division rivalry. For the longest time, it was sort of a contrived interleague rivalry. It didn't really resonate quite the same way as it does now. But, well, you review what happened last season, and the Astros, they're going to have the target on the back this year, not just from the Rangers, but for everybody. Their first World Series title, a great 7-game series against the Dodgers. Of course, 101 wins to win the division, and the MVP and Jose Altuve just signed to a big $150 million deal last week. A lot of excitement down there. The 2-2 and a flare towards second. Alberto is there, and that ends the inning. A 1-2-3 for Chris Martin. Looks very good. They'll stand and stretch here tonight at Globe Life Park. It's a 1-run game. Right back to action here in the bottom of the 7th inning. I'm Dave Raymond with the former Reds great C.J. Nitkowski.
All depends on how you phrase it, really. Because while my accomplishments there were not great, I did help them get David Wells. So that's why I always go, oh yeah, you're the guy we traded for David Wells. That is correct. You're welcome.
Whatever I can do to help the team.
Yep.
Preston Beck, his first at bat of the night, came in a couple innings ago defensively for Joey Gallo. Saw a lot of Preston during spring training this year. And he shoots that one off to the left side out of play. Beck, this is his 15th spring training game, and his average just a shade under 300. He's gotten a lot of time, and he's done the best he can with it. Swings and misses, strikes out to start the 7th inning. So Raisel Iglesias, after a scoreless 6th inning, out for a 2nd inning of work.
It's 3 straight strikeouts. It looks good. That was a pretty nasty changeup that he just threw there. We also saw him finish off Tochi dropping down a little bit, changing his arm angle. It's already a live arm as it is, and when you take that kind of stuff and then start to mess with the arm angle a little bit, it makes it even all the more difficult for these hitters. And he looks really sharp so far this evening.
It's a look at Jurickson Profar now. Profar last year had the job on opening day in left field, and really started the first 20 games in left field. But it did not work out. He struggled. You saw the numbers just a moment ago there, and ended up spending the rest of the year in the minor leagues. Now came to spring training, terrific spirits, a little bit better shape, and has drawn raves from the Rangers, the way he has handled everything. He'll be on the opening day roster this year, and a very important guy off the bench. His ability to play shortstop as well as every other position on the infield and the outfield. And especially you get a week or so into the season and you start carrying more pitchers and maybe a short bench, he becomes a very key guy.
Well, it certainly is interesting. A year ago, he ends up earning that left field position, at least for a little while. I guess about 20 games or so before a change was made. I think you're right. Once in a while, we may see him in the outfield, but he will be used mostly in the infield. And the idea of finding maybe 3 starts per week for him, if you find the right matchup, whether it means giving Rugen Odor a day off, or Elvis Andrus a day off, or Adrian Beltre, you have the confidence that he can hold down all of those positions defensively. Well, the question becomes, will he be able to maintain his offense, which is a very difficult thing to do whenever you come off the bench. And Jeff Bannister has talked about how he's a rhythm hitter, and they're very well aware of that. And if they want to get the most out of him, they'll try to find those continuous, consistent at-bats for him. It will be a little bit of a challenge, no doubt.
It's on a 1-2 from Iglesias. And he holds off a little bit outside.
It's funny you mentioned, comes in a little bit better shape. Not that that was ever an issue, right? No. You never looked at Jurickson Profar like, hey, this guy needs to clean it up a little bit. So that wasn't the case at all. And I think he understood coming in out of options, an important spring training for him, and he's come in ready, and he's impressed everybody with the Rangers. And I've said this in spring a bunch, and I'm sure we'll talk about it during the season. This guy was the #1 prospect in baseball just a couple of years ago. He is only 25 years old. He is still really young, and there is still an opportunity for him to become an impact big league player.
Stays alive here at 2-2. Of course, burst on the scene pre-teen, right? I mean, it was the College World Series with Curacao, and he was throwing like 90s off the mound and hitting bombs, and he was a superstar little kid, got everybody's attention, and he was every bit as great a pitcher as he was a hitter growing up. And most teams courted him as a pitcher. The Rangers were one of the very few who said, no, listen, if you want to play every day, you want to be an everyday player, okay, then we're interested. And ended up signing with the Rangers with the idea that, you know, he wants to be a position player and get a lot of at-bats, not pitch every 5th day. Joey Gallo was in a similar situation. 3-2, and that one lifted out to left field. Gonna hang up there, though, and they're 2 away. Profar could find that way to become the superstar that everybody knew he was going to be when he was just a young kid.
I'd like to see both of those guys get on the mound.
It'd be awesome.
Joey Gallo, George Profar.
Well, Iglesias did a really nice job tonight, retiring all 5 he faced. New pitcher coming on for the Reds in a moment.
Come on now.
It's a 7:05 first pitch. Now the first 15,000 fans to the ballpark are going to get an Elvis Andrus bobblehead, courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Brookshire's. Just go to TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS. Two out here with the 7th inning, and Kevin Quackenbush has come on to pitch.
This is 20 games a year ago. Tough ERA, tough year for Kevin Quackenbush. 7.86 ERA. 5 home runs allowed in 26 innings. Got to believe for Brian Price, though, they just had a plan with Iglesias as far as what they wanted to do. How many pitches they let him throw. But you don't see this too often. He was cruising along. I mean, even the fact that they were trying to stretch him out, I thought that was kind of interesting. Iglesias expected to be the closer again for the Cincinnati Reds. At this point, most of those guys 1 inning and get out of there, but they wanted to go back out, throw a little bit more.
2-1, and Lopes rolls it up the middle. That's a base hit. So the Rangers with a runner here in the 7th.
Not a bad pitch, down even probably below the zone a little bit, so nice job by Lopes to go down and get that one, and good hard ground ball up the middle.
Lopes on, and now Destin Hood. First, Quackenbush wants to make sure that Lopes doesn't take too big a lead. 4 years with the San Diego Padres for Quackenbush. Free agent at the end of last season, signed in late October by Cincinnati. And a swing and a miss by Hood. Another guy who turned some heads this year down in Arizona, Destin Hood.
Former second rounder with the Washington Nationals, and you're right, and that's important. You come in spring training, get your opportunities, especially in a new organization. see what he did with the 3 home runs, tied for second on the club this spring training. But he made the impression that he needed to make on the front office, on Jeff Bannister, who talked about it a little bit regarding Good in outside of breaking camp with the team, which would have been a big challenge, I think, for any outfielder this spring training. You put yourself in that position where you leave a good impression, something comes up, they know a lot about you, and there could be an opportunity for you later in the year.
Quackenbush gets the final out of the 7th inning, and we go to the 8th in a 1-run game.
Don't miss out. It's the final days of
leading the Reds by a score of 6-5. A win would be nice. It's been a while in spring training, but it is time to start getting excited about what is happening next door. The construction underway. Rangers live. Some things hopefully opening by the end of the calendar year. More importantly, the stadium in a couple of years, roof and all. It is an exciting time in Arlington. If you haven't seen them, get online, check the plans, see what's going on. Rangers live, Globe Life Field. Exciting times coming with that new ballpark. I cannot wait. And this guy also very excited about the new ballpark. Alex Claudio now on for the Rangers, and easily the best arm to come out of that bullpen a year ago for the Rangers. 2.50 ERA in his 70 games, including a start. I mean, you think about the year that he had. Never really would think that there would be a start in there for Alex Claudio, but he did it. He did everything the Rangers asked of him a year ago. They're going to ask him to do a lot again this year.
1-1. Of course, that was the start last year. He got the start, his first career start, and his first career save in the span of less than a week. Successive outings for him to accomplish that feat. So he deals with Blandino here and puts it on the corner for a strike. 1-2 the count.
So even though we're in Texas, the Arizona patch stays on the spring training uniform.
Oh yeah, good point. Check swing, he went around, and Alex Blandino, the first out of the 8th inning.
And Alex Blandino thinking, all right, I come to a big league spring training game and I'm going to see a pitch that is 67 miles an hour, but that's the changeup from Alex Claudio. So difficult to lay off of that thing. Look at the movement down. Trying to stay balanced. Look at this, way off, and there he is. Barrel that back going around. You shouldn't feel bad. Alex has done that to a lot of good big league hitters.
And now lefty on lefty here, Sebastian Elizalde. Lifted high in the air out to short left field. carried that a little bit in for Drew Robinson, but there, 2 gone.
Wait a minute.
Listen, man, spring training.
Wow. All the details here. Now, do you think the bases came from Arizona?
I'm gonna guess frankly, we should have done this game on Pacific time, too.
Yeah. Even take a shower here. 6 pitches.
Yeah, Jeff Bannister takes the baseball. New pitcher coming on.
Tomorrow, it's a full night of soccer excitement on FS1.
Goal for the United States!
First, the U.S. men's national team takes on Paraguay.
What you need to
Flexible exchange policy. For all the details and benefits, just go to TexasRangers.com/20-game plans. How about Kevin Jepson? He is on now for Claudio. Jepson, a guy who last year was doing a little soul searching at the end of spring training. He was driving through the mountains in Arizona, camping on the beaches in Santa Barbara, trying to decide what he would do with the rest of his life, and he's already back playing baseball, and he gets a pop-up on the first pitch. Beck tucks it away, and Jepson is the most efficient pitcher on the planet. Nice work. Bottom of the 8th coming.
Goodbye.
Here tonight, Rangers with a 1-run lead, and the Texas Rangers excited to help renovate or refurbish youth baseball or softball complexes, provide new equipment with the Globe Life Texas Rangers baseball and softball grant program. Now, if you're an eligible organization in Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arkansas, or Louisiana, you can apply online, texasrangers.com/grants, but you need to do it by the application deadline, which is June 30th. Josh Morgan leading things off here in the 8th inning. Quackenbush off the plate. It is 1-1. Morgan rolls one up the middle. And a routine play for Cliff Pennington. One out. So Quackenbush has come on and got a couple of outs, given up one hit. The Reds today using a smaller number of pitchers. Until now.
Way to go, Dave.
Brian Price at his 5th year as the skipper in Cincinnati says, hang on a second, we're doing the high knees out of the bullpen. Here they come. Bottom of the 8th inning in a 1-run game. Take note, CJ. This is how we're going to be doing it tomorrow as we get ready for the game. Come on.
I mean, if there was ever a case to be made for the bullpen card, there it is. That's a lot of work for Jared Hughes. Listen, I will never knock a guy's routine, whatever works for you. But that was amazing. But it made me tired watching him do that. And again, this is a guy that's had a very good career. 380 games pitched in the big leagues. You see what he did last year, a really nice season, but a 2.85 career ERA. Signed a 2-year deal with the Cincinnati Reds this offseason. All those games have been in relief. That just seemed unnecessary.
2-strike pitch to Alberto. And he got him swinging. Now, I've always heard that when the phone rings in the bullpen, everybody's heart just starts pumping like crazy, right?
Correct.
But that little scene just a moment ago looked like a guy who felt like he needed to get the heart pumping.
Yeah. Well, but he almost looks like he's out of breath now a little bit. Now, obviously, he just did a nice job there, made quick work of Alberto.
Drew Robinson stands in, and he takes strike one.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, it works for you. Remember Mike Fetters?
For sure.
When he made those changes and the things that he was doing, just kind of looking down, then the quick look in and really locked in and a pretty focused face when it came time to do work, and guys find what works for them. You and I were talking about it earlier. That's the anti-Lee Smith.
Oh, my goodness,
there.
yes.
Lee Smith, of course, known for just kind of strolling in back in the day.
Ground ball second base. Jared Hughes got in a hurry, got it done in a hurry. Now last chance for the Reds. They trail by a run.
Don't miss out.
Leading by a run. And by the way, Fox Sports Southwest encouraging you to show your school spirit at a Texas Rangers game this summer. Get discounted tickets for select games and a free Rangers cap in school-specific colors. Go to TexasRangers.com/UDays for details. So University Days back again in 2018. It's become one of those popular staples of the baseball schedule. A lot of fun here. Jesse Chavez becomes the 9th pitcher of the night for the Rangers tonight.
Well, a lot of guys that are expected to be in the big league staff will get a little bit of action, kind of joking around that 7-pitch inning. But obviously, for Jeff Bannister, wanted to get Jepson in there, wanted to get Claudio in there, and so they get their work done. And now Jesse Chavez will get his done as well. Start the season in the bullpen. Wouldn't surprise me if we see him potentially make a couple of starts along the way this season, but a guy that will be used as kind of a swing man. Got to talk to Jesse a little bit today. Hadn't seen him in a long time. Former teammate of mine. I said I love that there's still guys that I played with that are still playing this game. It helps me feel not nearly as old.
Yeah, you're kind of hanging on for dear life in that regard, right?
Yep. Couple of youngsters in there. Juan Centeno's another.
I like it, you know,
briefly, so it's kind of nice because obviously it's got to come to an end sooner or later.
Sure, but it's like a nice, gentle progression. More comfortable with it every day. Jesse allows the hit to Herrera. And now Brandon Dixon watches this one in the dirt. Herrera will scamper over to second base. He scored a wild pitch, I would assume. Always dangerous to do that.
You see the breaking ball in the dirt here. And the way that Brett Nicholas went to block that pitch tells me that there might have been some confusion, and that's why he went out there. You never saw the glove turn up. It stayed thumbed down the entire time. I think the break of that pitch might have caught him off guard.
It's another 1-0 to Dixon. That was the first mound visit of the night for either team, which is relevant because those are being very closely monitored now. In fact, you can see right there, MV.
Oh,
six.
I wonder how that was going to look.
Yep, 6 remaining for Cincinnati. Rangers now only have 5 remaining in the game, so you know, it's the reset, the last 30 seconds of the game, the possession arrow and timeouts and whatnot. There you go. Every major league team mandated to monitor that now on the scoreboards at all time. As Dixon strikes out swinging, and That is out number 1. And for some teams, that'll be easier than others. The real estate up on those scoreboards sometimes can be difficult to come by, but the Rangers have found that spot, and looks like it'll fit in just fine.
Yeah, they did a nice job getting that organized. Certainly something that the players need to keep an eye on, and it is important as you get closer to that number because of the penalties that are involved. Pitcher has to be removed from the game if you go beyond your visits. So here's something I was just thinking about. How many pitchers from last year's opening day roster will be on this year's opening day roster?
For the Rangers?
Yeah, pretty incredible.
Small
to
number.
think about. Very small number. What do you think?
Rotation's almost completely blown up. Just one in Hamels.
Now Martin Perez is expected to be back relatively quickly,
yeah.
but he won't be on the opening day roster, so it sounds like one starting pitcher.
Right. And then you've got, I guess you get Matt Bush. Boy, it's kind of funny, you know, Alex Claudio, but Keller was not with the team on opening day last year. It's just one sent out to left field.
Who was it?
2 away. Keone Keller.
Oh, yeah. No, I know.
He started in the minor leagues, and then
I think it's just 3 relievers.
Barnett this year's likely going to start on the disabled list. 3 relievers. So
who's the third? You said Bush.
We got Bush. We got Claudio.
There's Keller. He was not on the opening day roster.
Right.
Jose Leclerc made the team out of camp last year, did he not?
That's I
believe he did.
That's a detail that escapes me at this moment.
But I think he is the 4th. If memory serves, without doing research, and research is highly overrated in our industry. I believe there was just 4 pitchers that are anticipated to be on the opening day roster this year, which obviously there's nothing official just yet. But I don't see it as a bad thing either. I mean, obviously injuries were an issue, and the injuries that are preventing a couple of players this year are not significant, so that's certainly good news.
A little roster manipulation, and that's always part of it. But the point's a pretty interesting one.
Well, thank you.
Who pointed that out? Who handed you a note? Where did that come from? Oh, seriously.
Polish brain, buddy. Don't underestimate it.
1-1 to Irvin.
Well, the thing is, too, is the replacements. When we were talking to Jeff Bannister about it, and you and I were talking about the team earlier today over at Fox Sports Southwest, and I started thinking as we talk about the replacements and the veterans that are there and why there's a reason to be optimistic, you start realizing there's a bunch of new veterans in the rotation. We showed the graphic in our open today. And as we were going through the bullpen, a handful of veterans. And so there were some issues last year. We know there were some pitching issues a year ago with the Rangers, and they addressed those. So much so that there's only going to be about 4 pitchers from last year's opening day roster.
Chavez with a 2-2 and fouled away.
You see it here as we had talked about the rotation. That was one thing that stuck out to me. Is they're all new Rangers there outside of Cole Hamels, and probably that April 2nd start looks like it likely will go to Bartolo Colon, another new Ranger. That is not set in stone. That's why it says TBD, but it certainly does appear that that's the way things are shaping up. 4 new veterans in that rotation until Martin Perez gets back.
This ball hit out to the gap left center field, but hangs up. And Robinson able to get to it. So this one is done. Rangers win it 6-5 tonight. These 2 teams have one more left tomorrow before we can start talking about opening day. For CJ Nitkowski and Emily Jones, I'm Dave Raymond. Opening day is Thursday on Fox Sports Southwest. Coverage begins at 1 o'clock with Rangers Live pregame presented by Ford. This has been a presentation of Fox Sports. Once again, our final score was the Rangers over the Reds, 6-5.
You're an idiot if you're not